turning fear into your friend. It sounds weird and wrong. Who wants to be buddies with fear? It's scary, right? Transformative things can happen when we recognize our fears, we acknowledge them, and then we start to dive into them. Not only do we take the power away from whatever it is that we're fearful of being or doing or having or experiencing, but it helps to make us more powerful. It will build your sense of self-worth. It will build your self-esteem and your healthy ego. So today I'm going to give you my 3 C's for making friends with fear, so that instead of being something that rules you, it can be something that fuels you. Fuels you to greater heights, to greater accomplishments, to a greater next best version of yourself. If that sounds good, stick around. First, before I give you those 3 C's, I'd love for you to check and see, are you a subscriber here? If not, please subscribe. What subscribing does is it puts us in your feed on YouTube, so when you log in, we'll be there, so you'll see. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss a minute, click that little bell so that we'll also be in your notifications, and you'll know the next time that we've dropped a video like this to help you have more power and more happiness in your life. I'll see you in just a second.
GILD Coaching. More success, less stress.
Whenever I have a new client or a mentee who hasn't heard me say this before, I can understand why it sounds a little silly to them, but my instruction to them is that they need to get to know their fear and become best friends with it. Usually they're like, wait, what? What? The reason that we need to become friends with our fear is that when it remains fear, it rules us. But these little things that we're afraid of could actually provide us the fuel to become the next best version of ourselves. And isn't that what this journey in life is all about? We should never compare ourselves to each other. We have different lives. We came from different places. We have different circumstances, different tools and strengths and talents. So let's not compare this. My best comparison for me is my last best self. So yesterday, I was my best self. I brought my best self to the table. That's the only comparison that's fair for me to make. I can only compare myself against my last best performance. So let's not compare ourselves to each other, and let's not compare our fears to each other. But let's get to know our own fear so that we can dive in and become friends with it so it can fuel us to our next best. Sound good? All right, get a pen or a pencil, take some notes, and if you don't have a pen or pencil or a notepad or whatever, open up the comment section here on YouTube and you can take notes right here in the comments. You can also add this to your liked videos so that you have easy access to come back in and look at your notes, rewatch the video if you need to, or share it with someone who you love, who you would like to be able to become the next best version of themselves as well. All right, get ready to take those notes. There are 3 C's, 3 words that begin with the letter C that I like to express to people about how to become friends with their fear. Usually, when we fear something, we fear this big thing, a word or an idea, and we kind of stay away from it. So it holds the power over us. It's ruling us. We want to shift that so it's fueling us forward. And how do we do that? We become curious about it. There are some healthy fears, like fear of physical safety. If I was going to walk across a busy street, I need to look and make sure that there's, no trucks or cars coming my way so that I make it safely across. That's a healthy fear. There are unhealthy fears as well, and I think that we understand what that is. It's fear of the unknown, fear of what if something's going to happen. So become curious. That's your first C if you're taking notes. Become curious about the fear. Take a moment to look at it. It might not feel good at first, but it's really going to give you a lot of power if you spend a little bit of time considering this fear. Look at it. Literally consider it. Journal about it. I love journaling to explore what's in here. It's really the healthiest way to have a conversation with yourself, journaling. So look at it. Become curious. Where did this fear come from? Did I learn this from somewhere else? Did it Did it start up in here? Is it from an experience? How can I reframe this so that it means something different to me? Just become curious about it. When you become curious about any topic, it means that you're in learning mode. And when you're in learning mode, you're not doing this. You're not shying away from it. You're leaning in, and that immediately disempowers the fear because you try to start to pick it apart. Just think of anything that's a mystery to you. How does that clock work? Like little boys who like to take their toys apart. I suppose girls do it too, but who like to take their toys apart and see how they work. How else are they going to learn how to put them back together? They're curious. How does this work? Oh wait, how can I get it to work again? So think of your fear like that. Pick it apart. It takes the power out of it. Curiosity is number one. Number two is compassion. You are a human being. Sorry for the truth bomb, but you are, and humans aren't perfect. Humans also do have fears. So instead of telling yourself you're silly or you're ridiculous or that's, you shouldn't have this, be compassionate toward yourself. You have this fear, you're becoming curious about it, and even though you haven't overcome it yet, it's okay. However old you are, that's how long it has taken you to get to this point where you're ready to face the fear and become friends with it. So be compassionate to the 2-year-old who's still in here, to the 5-year-old who's still in here, to the sassy 15-year-old who's still in here. Be compassionate to all those versions of you because all of those versions of you have brought you to the point where you are. Be as compassionate to all of those versions of you on the inside that you would expect your parent or guardian to have been toward you. Okay, so don't beat yourself up over it. As long as you're exercising that curiosity and you're not sitting here like afraid of it. Okay? And then your third C is courage. Recognize that it takes courage to dive in. It takes courage to lean in. And it takes courage to do what this point is really telling you to do, which is to face those fears. Until you face the fear, it's going to rule you. I like to think of it like the monster under the bed. We have kids, so we had a couple that were afraid of the monster under their bed or in their closet or whatever. The lights go out and they flip out, right? What are they afraid of? They're not exercising courage. We have another child who wasn't at all afraid of the monster under the bed. He would actually seek it out. Why? Did he want to be friends with the monster? No. He wanted to intimidate the monster. Somebody's going to intimidate each other. It's either going to be the monster or the little boy. Give yourself some love. Go back to that second C of compassion. Give yourself some love and bolster up that courage so that you can face it. It might be scary. It might be scary as hell for a minute. But bolstering up that courage so that you can face it head on and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway is what I like to say. Bolstering up that courage is going to bring a whole new level of strength, confidence, and self-esteem to who you are. And that way, the next time you see a fear, you can be like, all right, I'm going to pick you apart. I'm going to love myself through it, knowing that I'm going to be a little afraid. But I'm going to bolster up my courage. I'm going to figure you out so that you can help propel me forward to the next best version of myself. If this has been of use to you, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell before you go. We'll see you next time when we drop a video to help you live a life with lower stress and more success.